Before we start our metal project, I want to demonstrate two different techniques to you. And to be clear, you need to understand that we work both the front and the back side of a piece of metal, so I've labeled those. We're just going to do a simple shape like a heart. The piece of metal is laid on some sort of a pad, like a stack of magazines. I'm using a wooden dowel, and I'm just pressing into the foil to create the line. When you flip it over, you can see that that line is now indented or pushing out on the front side of the foil. The next step is to clarify the line. On the front side, I'm going to use my tool and press down on each side of that line. So I'll do it on the inside of the heart, and then I'll also go around the outside edge of the heart. The next important thing is to use a flat end of a tool to smooth. You're trying to smooth the metal flat on the outside edge, and you can also do the inside edge. Notice I will start turning the metal because I'm pushing that dowel. Not only am I rubbing the metal flat, I'm pushing up against that ridge that I created when I drew the line of the heart. This created the raised relief of a line. Next up, we're going to do a full shape. Starting on the back side again, I'm going to do the first step the same. I'm going to draw a heart, just a line. When we look at the front side, it's the same as before, but I'm not trying to have a raised relief line. I'm trying to have a raised relief shape. On the front, I'm going to, again, clarify the line, but only on the outside. So really, I'm clarifying the shape. I'm going to go around and press down on the outside edge using both the pointy and the flat end to smooth and make sure that line is very crisp. I left the inside of the shape alone. I'm going to flip it over and work from the back side now. I'm puffing out the entire shape. I'm going to use the flat end of my tool and I'm going to press, pushing up against my line. Work the entire shape. Notice how the entire shape is puffed out compared to before. It still needs a little work. You can see the right side there needed to be pushed out some more. You now know how to make a raised relief line and a raised relief shape for your foil shield project. We're going to do some research. You need to look up your family coat of arms. Mine is two lions that are facing each other. When I drew the two lions after looking at an idea from the internet, I felt like I had too much space, so I added that sort of chevron shape at the top, the angled line and circles. The tracing paper works great because as I was trying to work in symmetry, I was able to fold in half and trace the lion and trace those lines. Now you're going to go ahead and transfer your design when you're satisfied with it onto the foil using the techniques from before. So you have a full-size piece of foil and you are going to lay your tracing paper right onto it. Just so you guys can see, you don't need to do this. I wrote back so you know when I'm working on the back and when I'm working on the front. We don't want the word front and back on our project. With my tracing paper there, I'm going to begin tracing with the dowel, and once I've done all the lines, I will then start working through puffing the shapes that I want to puff and clarifying the lines that I want to leave as lines. My last tip before you watch me work on this, I made my project too complicated. The lines are too detailed and they're too close together. I had a difficult time puffing all of those individual shapes. So simple is a little bit better for this project. Once you're done tracing, you throw that tracing sheet away, and it's time to make decisions about the raised relief lines versus raised relief shapes. It's your choice. As you near the end, take one of the flat tools and make sure you smooth all the extra area on your foil. Lay your foil on black paper and trace the edge. You need to create an interesting border around the black paper. Start in pencil, and then you're going to finish using metallic markers or metallic colored pencils. Use at least two metallic colors, like I used gold and silver. You're going to paint the metal black with whichever black paint I happen to provide for you, and then you're going to rub off that black paint. I used a spray paint and it was too hard to get off, so you see too much black in my project when it's done. But the point of the black is to give it a burnished effect where it sort of accentuates your shapes and lines around the edges because it sticks in those deep parts, whereas the raised parts you've created, you are rubbing the black off and polishing it back to a shiny silver. Use a few spots of glue and glue it onto the border you created. You may also need to use staples very carefully at the corner. The metal is very heavy for the paper. And here is your final coat of arms project.